Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So, there was this one magic ingredient in the oil. Stay tuned to hear the full story and find out what that ingredient was. Welcome to Igniting Change, Finding Your Fire, a podcast covering all topics health, healing, and spirituality. I'm your host, Meena Puri. Thank you for joining me. So, I have a story to share with you. I think I was about 11, between any age between 10 and 12 years old. My mom had returned back from one of her travels with her brother. She used to travel quite a bit, not with my dad. My dad was always busy in the clinic, in the hospital, and my mom did her traveling. So in one such trip, she came back limping because she had fracture in her leg. So those days, we did not rush to the hospital. My dad was a doctor, and he invited another Ayurvedic specialist, because she wouldn't listen to him, to take a look at her leg. So this wise sage gave oil for my mom. And he said, if you were to massage the leg with this oil every day, your leg would heal. I was in the other room, but I could hear the whole story. So I listened to what he said, and I took it upon myself to massage my mom every single day, probably even more than I needed to, but I did not skip a beat because I believed this wise sage wholeheartedly. Actually, I didn't even question whether I believed or not. I simply did, because I followed by massaging my mom's leg every single day. So my mom's leg healed. And I do remember my mom saying that Meena healed my leg. I didn't think much of it. Actually, I forgot about that story, and then just recently was reminded of it. So what was it in that oil that made my mom heal? Was it a magic herb? Was it the oil itself? Was it how it was put together or combined? So what I intuit is the magic ingredient in that oil was that I believed that it would heal my leg. Being a kid, I didn't want my mom to be in pain. I wanted to do everything I possibly could to just help her not be in pain. So the magic ingredient was the belief. I believed because my head was not filled with anything other than I simply believed. He said it would heal her. I followed, and it healed. So had I questioned, like the way we question nowadays, oh really? What do you think is in the oil? You think you have some magic herb in there? And then we will be chasing the herb, right? Remember, we're all chasing that magic food, the magic herb, the magic treatment that's going to take care of it all. But I really believe, no pun intended, that the magic ingredient, the true ingredient that healed my mom was my belief that it would. And I think in this world of information and in this world of being really cautious and careful and wanting to know it all, we have overlooked one very important attribute of our being. That attribute is believing. We want to know what we are going to get before we get it, before we invest. We want to know the whole process. We want to know the exact details because our head is so active in figuring it all out. We have overused our mind, or we can call it ego. We have overused it. And when we overuse the mind this way, we really do a disservice to our most profound attributes, which is our ability to trust, our belief, our intuition, and just trusting in the unknown and following the path. And often when we do that, we are met with many surprises, wonderful surprises at the end, many things that we may not even have imagined. So in the practice of health and healing, I meet numerous clients who are suffering. They're suffering with all kinds of things, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. It's all really, many times, it's just all packaged into one, because they don't come see me until their back is pushed against the wall. Some are lucky enough to see that they are being pushed against the wall. They need help. Others don't see it. They normalize it. So believing that you are going to get to the other side of whatever your current challenge is, it's an important ingredient in you getting there. Because if we don't believe, any opportunity that come our way, we are going to second guess. We're going to employ our mind a lot, and we're going to find a loophole or a weakness, or we're going to find a rationale argument against it. Because there is a rational argument against and for anything. Remember, our mind is actually, we can use it as we like. If we want to find the argument, no, I don't want to go this route, I don't think this is going to help me, your mind will say, exactly, you are correct. Because you can find arguments for, or you can find arguments against. So it's not the mind that tells us what to do. We have to train the mind in following our own beliefs, which are deeper than the thinking, overanalyzing mind. So behind so much resistance and all the rationale explanations why you are stuck in the status quo. So obviously I'm talking about our health. I'm talking about our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health. I frankly don't see anything above and beyond it, because if we are not okay in here, in our making, in our own being, in our own container, our work is going to suffer, our relationships are going to suffer, our purpose is going to get clouded. We're not going to be able to follow through. So our health, all-encompassing health, from the physical to the non-physical, is the foundation for us living a fulfilled, meaningful, joyful life, and a life that we can then put in service to others. We can't serve others if we can't even serve ourselves. So this is something important to look at. When we have resistance, is the true culprit is the lack of belief. If we don't believe there is another way of experiencing life other than the current way of experiencing life, which may be, if you're listening, very negative, then nobody can convince you, because it's really not anybody's job to convince you. I don't convince people. I simply offer. If they're ready, they begin. If they're not ready, then I tell them, reach out to me when you're ready. In the meantime, do these two things. Think about these two things. So you don't want to be persuaded. You don't want to be convinced, but you have to tap deeper within yourself. Is it the lack of belief that you can experience life other than how you are experiencing that's coming in your way. So take a look at that, because when we believe, it's followed by taking responsibility. Like for me, I just simply believed. I didn't even actually know that I didn't believe, because believing is all I knew. But it wasn't I believed and I just sat and meditated away for my mom's leg to heal. I did the action. I massaged her every single day, even more than I couldn't do enough, because I wanted her to get better. So maybe we don't want to believe, because if we believe, we are, we can't now get off the hook. We need to follow it with action. We need to take responsibility. We need to follow through, because at every step of the way, our belief is going to be challenged, right? What happens in a time of difficulty? We are waiting, we have done all the work, we have done everything, and then the doubt and the fear creeps in. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. We have to continue to recultivate, nurture, re-nurture our belief. We have to continue to trust. We have to continue to believe that there is another way of existence. Now, if we look deeper into the belief, perhaps where does the belief come from? It comes from, that's a separate conversation altogether. Our beliefs are formed by our experiences that we have not healed, etc., etc. But why we want to believe in something? Because there's a strong desire for something. I believe my mom's massaging her leg with this magic oil. I thought the oil was magic, but the magic was within me. So the belief comes from the strong desire for something. My strong desire for her to get better, it reinforced my belief. This is all happening behind the scenes subconsciously. I'm not consciously thinking about it. I'm having conversation about it. I'm thinking back and having a conversation about it. So it's a strong desire. So now, where does that desire come from? Everybody has a desire to live in a better, happier, healthier way. What happens so many times when all we have experienced is turmoil and anguish, that deep voice within that says, come on, isn't there a way? Is life is meant to be like this? Am I asking for too much? It gets stifled by our rationale mind. It says, no, this is how it is. We don't hear our inner voice. We kind of press it down and we continue to carry on living the way we have been living. So the strong desire is built in. It's in Sanskrit, that word is called like the tapas. It's the same, the yearning that makes you wake up in the morning and hoping for a better day. So that is built in every human being. The question is, are you stifling that voice, that yearning? Are you afraid to actually look at it and own it and believe if the desire is there, then there is a way to get it? The desire does not exist until there is a way to fulfill it. So if you have a desire, it doesn't matter how deeply it's been buried, because there is a way to fulfill it. Who's going to fulfill it? You're going to fulfill it. But first you have to connect with what that desire is and be strong and be brave enough to give it voice. And then comes the juicy work, the responsibility. Then comes the trials and tribulations. But it's your belief that's fueled in this case by your strong desire that's going to keep you on the path. So, what do you strongly desire? Are you brave enough to believe it? That's a question that I would love to know. Share in the comments below. So if you are suffering in any way at all, physical suffering, mental suffering, emotional suffering, spiritual suffering, we live in a world where we have fragmented all of these. And I always chuckle when I have to explain health. It's physical, mental, emotional, all of that. The truth is, of course it is. It's just that we are so accustomed to now in the Western world with the fragmenting the human being into different aspects of their life, their being, that we have to specify each and every aspect. So when I'm talking about health, I'm talking about health all encompassing. When I'm talking about healing, for me, healing and health is the same thing. Health, it may be viewed as lack of symptoms. Who cares? A lot of people don't have any symptoms, but they're very unhappy. So for me, I use healing and health interchangeably, but just to explain. So if you're not living your best life because your health is coming in the way, what are you waiting for? And if you are ready, then I invite you to take a look at this workshop that I have created for you, in which I share my own story of suffering and how I came to the healing. I share a little bit more about my own healing journey. So take a look at that workshop, click the link in the description box, and I hope that you get to watch the video, and I would love to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining in. Until I meet you next week. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. You can find all episodes of Igniting Change, Finding Your Fire at ayurvedikhealingcenter.com. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and share your comments.